I will teach you the ropes of the business world.
Recap of Young and Restless. Cole Howard gets to the lake house. After Nikki loses it and starts drinking, Kyle strikes a deal with Tucker and, spoiler alert, shows up at the lake house. Diane fiddles with trays at the Abbott mansion, telling Jack that it's her first Thanksgiving as his wife, and she wants everything to be just right. Jack talks about how they set aside their disagreements to spend time together during the holidays. Diane informs him that this time last year, Ashley was attempting to drive her out of town. He's amazed at how much has happened in the last year. When Ashley enters, she remembers that Diane had saved her life. They're all aiming for the same prize, says Jack. Jack brings up Tucker, which annoys Ashley, who then shocks her brother by announcing she wants to ask him to dinner. Gloria's Young and Restless comeback could be both a dream come true for fans and a nightmare for Lauren. Victoria calls Nikki at Newman, leaving a voicemail asking her to tell Aunt Casey hello on her behalf and to give her a call when she gets a moment. She was in dire need of her counsel. Nikki is staring at the bottle of vodka in the closed room at the lake cottage. Then she discovers it's truly water as she opens the bottled water on the nightstand. After a few drinks, she considers how horrible she feels following the vodka IV. She vowed never to experience this emotion again. "Claire," she yells, "why are you treating me like this?" Nikki sits and looks at the vodka on the dresser once again, thinking, no. She wonders why Claire wants her to suffer and replies, "No, I can't. She knows my weakness." No, illness, not weakness. It's an illness, Nikki assures herself as she downs more water. You're capable of handling this. Daily by daily, per minute, please. Victoria is considering phoning Nate at Newman as Claire emerges from the elevator. Victoria believed she was traveling with her mother to the west. Claire stammers, "It's your mom," as she returns to grab some work. Breaking into Victor's office, Victoria and Claire inform him that Nikki had a seizure and is being rushed to an Oregonian hospital. Claire received this information by phone from her Aunt Jordan. Victor takes out his phone and makes a request to have the jet prepared. Victoria says, "I'll be joining you." They bolt from the office, saying, "We can grab Nick on the way to the airport." Claire pauses to survey her surroundings before going with them. Kyle tells Audra he wants to go back inside the club bar. Audra queries Kyle's most recent conversion. He tells her that he hopes to share the Jebot CEO-ship. He made it obvious he didn't want to do it this way when Audra asked him to explain things to her. Why should she think he won't alter his mind once more? Tucker walks up and asks, "Evidence to prove what?" As Kyle claims that McCall is mistaken about his incapacity to commit, Tucker responds, "And I have the evidence to prove it." After Audra, Tucker, and Kyle take a seat at a table in the jazz club. Kyle plays them a tape of Ashley from the Abbott residence promising to help Devin and Tucker get back together and perhaps even convince him to stop seeing Jebot. Tucker brushes off the thought that Ashley was attempting to control him. This, in Kyle's opinion, shows that he will disregard his aunt. "I didn't think I had it in you." Tucker laughs. While they wait for the aircraft to be ready, Victor, Victoria, and Nick attempt in vain to get in touch with Nikki at the club. Victor finds out that it will take 30 minutes. Claire watches while Victor tells his children, "It will be okay." Nikki conceals the alcohol in the closed room and wonders, what type of person does this? She then takes the alcohol out once more and instructs herself to pour it out. She brings it to the sink, removes the cap, and takes a drink rather than throwing it down the drain. Next up, another. She will soon be downing the last of the bottle. She lets go of it, and it smashes on the floor. Crawling into the bed, Nikki lets out a cry. "Oh God. Lord, please," as she cries. Victor asks Claire in the club if her aunt mentioned anything more regarding the seizure. Claire replies, "Not really." Her main goal was to get Nikki to assist her. She claimed that after Nikki began to twitch and felt lightheaded, her arms began to jerk as if they were beyond her control. They ask Claire the name of the hospital, and she collapses. Victoria fears that this is connected to her multiple sclerosis. Since there isn't one close to the lake house, Claire is unsure. Victor gives her instructions to call her aunt and inform her of Nikki's MS. Tucker tells Kyle in the jazz lounge that this is a promising beginning. Audra assumes Kyle has thought about how he could be able to assist them in reaching their objective. Kyle claims he took his father's invitation to become COO by acting like the prodigal son. It was an incredibly vulnerable point. Tucker speculates that Kyle will have inside knowledge and be able to obtain facts. He needs something to undermine the business from the inside out. Is this a joke? Kyle wonders. He can't manage a business if there's nothing left. Tucker makes it clear that all he will do is cripple it. In order to subdue Javad, he requires leverage. Will you find this to be problematic? For the plan to succeed, Kyle must complete it. Though he doesn't trust either of them, he can give the information. No offense, he says, knowing that Tucker is hurt and that he wants to punish Ashley and her family. This is the only way he can operate the company the way he wants to. McCall tells Tucker to go home and play the prodigal son, saying, "Don't make the mistake of playing me, and everyone will get what they want." Tucker and Kyle shake hands. Audra dismisses him. Audra greets Kyle at the club door, saying she's happy to see him again. But he doesn't appear very thrilled for a man who is about to get all he desires. Audra says that once they regain control, they will rebuild the company stronger and better because this is what Tucker does best. Kyle responds that this is why he's dealing with him. With both of them, it's clear who I'm dealing with. She muses that she finds it appealing that he doesn't trust her, saying, "I need this to succeed." Claire phones Aunt Jordan, and the Newmans listen in the club. Jordan answers the phone, saying, "I just got back from the hospital, understand?" Victor says, "Hello, this is Victor Newman." Jordan makes a knowing look on the other end. Claire answers, "Yes, I'm here with Mr. Newman and 2 of his children. They're very worried." Says she, "Mr. Anthony Newman." Jordan acts as though she can't hear Victor as he thanks her for helping his wife. "Well, I can't believe it." Jordan asks, "Hi there." Victor restates himself, and Jordan adds that Nikki scared her. Jordan says they found out that's what was ailing her. Victor begs her to tell them his wife has MS. The doctors are tending to her. Her epilepsy seems to be responding well to the medication they gave her. Victor tells her they'll be there in a few hours and that they'd like to keep her overnight. When Victor asks for the hospital's name, she disconnects and informs him he's breaking up again. Victor tells Claire they owe her aunt a huge debt of gratitude, repeating what Jordan said to Nick and Victoria. Victor is looking forward to thanking her in person, to which Claire responds, "I'm sure she doesn't see it that way." Diane cautions Ashley at the Abbott residence not to give up her entire vacation for Tucker. She adores her brother and his commitment to family, so it means a lot to Jack to have her there as well. At this same time last year, Jack had just found out he had another grandchild. They talk about Allie pursuing her goals abroad. Ashley believes Diane is speaking honestly. Diane does, and she hopes to return in time for supper. When Kyle enters, he boasts about how wonderful the scent is. After Ashley leaves the room, Diane is asked by Kyle, "Where's Dad?" "He's in the kitchen," she says. In a whisper, Kyle says, "I met with Audra." He reports that Tucker returned and that everything went perfectly. He tells Diane, "I think you were right about how to handle this. He'll take out the threat and give his father this as a gift." Diane clucks, "That's good for you." Jack then shows in, and they all discuss how this is his favorite holiday. Jack bemoans the fact that Tucker continues to bother them. According to Kyle, today ought to be all about them. Tucker texts Devin at the jazz lounge, asking if they can figure this out. He would adore having him over for Thanksgiving. When Audra resurfaces, he asks if she wants to go upstairs, and she remarks, "Looks like it's just you and me." She blurts out, "No, Tucker." He was referring to the dining area. He makes fun of her for having a gutter mind when she nods in agreement. In the dining room, Claire continues talking about the poor mobile service at the lake house and acknowledges that she occasionally worries about her aunt being in such a distant location. After making an attempt to return calls, Victor tells Nick and Victoria to come on. "Let's go," and they leave. Nikki, who is in her room, hears a creak in the door and asks, "Who's there?" Claire, "Huh." A knock on the lake house door below is accompanied by a "Hello, Nicole?" Victoria, "What?" The man grabs the doorknob, opens it, and enters. Cole Howard is here. "It's Cole, Nikki," he yells. "I saw your text concerning Victoria. Is she doing okay?" Wednesday, November 22. Gloria's scandalous affair. Chelsea saves Billy from a fight. The Young and the Restless recap. The Wednesday, November 22 spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Y&R, indicate that Abby Newman Abbott, Melissa Ordway, will provide food and the use of society to save Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, Tracy E. Bregman, from a Thanksgiving disaster. Lauren will be upset when out of the blue, Gloria Bardwell, Judith Chapman, and Michael Baldwin, Christian Leblanc, will arrive and insist on having a traditional holiday lunch. When Gloria and Michael blow in, Chloe Mitchell, Elizabeth Hendrickson, and Kevin Fisher, Greg Reichart, will also be present. Gloria will make the most of her experiences after spending the last 6 months in and out of prison in Singapore. Gloria won't give in to pressure from everyone for answers regarding the legal turmoil, so Michael will threaten to provide them. Gloria will confess to having an affair with a diplomat over dinner, but his wife discovered them together. Gloria took 3 pairs of the wife's expensive shoes and a silk evening dress when she was organizing her belongings in the closet. Gloria will act as though the husband had a lot of gall, even though it was he who actually filed the charges. Gloria will be especially appreciative of her gifted son this year because Michael was fortunate enough to clear her by utilizing a fictitious mistaken identity defense. Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, will soon have Abby join her at her penthouse, along with Devin Hamilton Winters, Brighton James, Mamie Johnson, Veronica Red, Daniel Ramalotti Jr., Michael Grazietti, and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic. Devin will press Mamie to disclose Tucker McCall's Trevor Street John true intentions because they will all be together. In the end, Mamie will admit that Tucker isn't doing this to get Chancellor Winters for himself. Tucker wants to preserve Devin's future and leave a legacy for Rain and River Ware, the children of Dominic Newman, Abbott, and Winters. Mamie will urge that Tucker think Devin is the legitimate heir of Catherine Chancellor, Jean Cooper, because Tucker never thought Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, had any claim to the entire Chancellor Corporation. Devin and Lily will also be challenged by Mamie to think about whether it would truly be that horrible if Jill was fired and they were left in charge without outside intervention. When Tucker questions Zuleika Silver's character Audra Charles about her connection with Michael Mueller's character Kyle Abbott at the GCAC, Audra will imply that Tucker might be envious. Tucker acknowledges that perhaps, in another reality, he and Audra would have made the ideal couple. Despite their extreme similarities in this world, Tucker will believe Audra is a remarkable lady who deserves better than someone like Kyle. Tucker will initially not reply when he receives a text from Ashley Abbott, Eileen Davidson, inviting him to get a drink. Before showing out that you may love someone and despise them at the same time, Audra will pretend that Tucker is a huge fan of the game. Tucker will respond to her text and offer to grab a drink in the jazz lounge, once he's determined to test how far Ashley will go with this. If Tucker can't get Ashley out of his brain, Audra will tell him that he will completely ruin this strategy. Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, will attempt to talk Ashley out of inviting Tucker and Devin to Thanksgiving dinner at the Abbott residence. Jack won't have great expectations from Ashley, even though she will pretend that she will try to return in time for supper. In the Y&R episode airing on Wednesday, Michael Mueller's character Kyle Abbott will be preoccupied with his phone, leading Diane Jenkins Abbott, Susan Walters, to surmise that he is experiencing anxiety over his contact with Audra. Diane will acknowledge that she is also frightened, but Kyle will pretend that nothing is wrong and that he is in control. Later, after hearing that Kyle has chosen to accept the COO role, Jason Thompson's character Billy Abbott would inquire as to what made Kyle decide otherwise. Billy will assume that, given Kyle's sincerity, it doesn't really matter. When Kyle inquires as to Billy's intentions, Billy will reply that he and Jack are both guardians of the business. Billy's belief that he must shield Jack from his own kid will annoy Kyle, but Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, will step in to support Billy and break up a fight. Billy will whisk Chelsea off to her next holiday get-together when she reminds him that she has to go meet Connor Newman, Judah Mackey, and Anita Lawson, Catherine Bach, for Thanksgiving. Ashley will indicate that Tucker and Audra appear to be cozy because she will see them seated at a table at the GCAC. Tucker will highlight how he had a burger and bourbon with Audra on Thanksgiving, defying the convention. Tucker will meet Ashley at the Jazz Lounge as promised once Audra politely leaves. Tucker, though, won't sugarcoat the fact that he doesn't think Ashley is acting honorably. Ashley will argue that her only goal is to assist Tucker and Devin in mending their broken bond. Ashley will say that since it's Thanksgiving, this is a good time to get started. Despite Ashley's invitation, Tucker won't think Devin will show up, but in the interim, she has a proposition for him. Tucker will be urged to take that and continue where they left off by Ashley, who will remind him of a business they bought to act as the For Simply Ashley. Ashley will say that Tucker might see it as a positive step and that it is a gesture of goodwill because she broke their business arrangement. Ashley will just ask for peace in exchange, perhaps for the benefit of their kids and grandkids. Tucker will seem dubious and playful, but he will also accept the bargain and clink glasses with Ashley. When Jack gets back to the Abbott residence, he will realize that Ashley most likely won't return in time for Thanksgiving dinner, so he will assure everyone that it will be served shortly. Jack will talk about the difficulties the Abbotts have had this year and make a toast to taking on new challenges as a team before they go to the table. Stay tuned for more family conflict developing for the Abbott clan, according to spoilers for The Young and the Restless. Thanks you.